Hi, my name is Gary Sugai, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrews. I think he's a wonderful person, and he's doing a great job going in the right direction into becoming famous. I do recommend him for any job that you have to offer him. And if you have any questions, you may contact me as well. Gary S1973 at MSN.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. That's right, it is January and we are continuing the Christmas theme. Why? I had to work all of December, so I didn't want my money to go to waste on those two stars. And you can't see the damn tree in the background, oh well. But you can see part of it. But yes, we do have a Christmas tree peeking out over there. You know, it's a different time, it's a nice time of the year. And don't worry about it. We have the stars. Let the stars be the center of attention. The tree is not going anywhere. But yes, I bought the stars. I bought the trees for on my December theme of the holidays. I had to work. Unfortunately, I didn't really do a lot of interviews. I did about 2 or 3. But I'm like, what am I going to do for January? In January, I'm like, well, I need a new theme, and it helps it. I just continue it from December. So the Christmas theme will continue. That's why you're wearing your fancy Christmas sweater, just like I am. Now, don't get me started on mine, because mine was supposed to light up, but the batteries are dead, and I don't know how to fix that, so it's a nice sweater nonetheless, but whatever, lights up. I don't want to execute myself. So with that being said, it's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. Looking forward to our interview and building a friendship with you. And for people who want to know what my talk show is about, whole part of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. And you should prove to them you can still amount to something. Now I had that reaction, people. Now people would say, are you really an inspiration? Are you just blowing smoke out of people? Are you blowing smoke out of your ass? I would hope so, that I am an inspiration, but I'm turning myself into an example, a walking, talking example, saying if I can do it, you can do it too. But yes, I've been called an inspiration. I've been called, a pioneer. But I would like to be the first to do something. But this is not about me, and this is about you. So you can ask me anything you want, gloves off. You puss on me, I puss on you. Don't hold anything back. If you want to say it, just say it. So the first question I saw was, you moved to New York City in 2009. Now, what made you get up and leave your hometown and go to the city in '09?
Actually, I was originally from Baltimore, and I moved up to New York City because I was told that's where the major market is, and that's the only way to pursue your career as an actor. I was originally going to go to L.A. at first, but people were telling me to start in New York to start training and get your feet wet in this industry rather than just going straight to L.A. because it's a little more competitive in L.A. And when I moved to New York in 2009, it was different. It was a journey. It wasn't easy for me to make a decision because I was afraid of how hard it would be financially and also just life in general. So I didn't really have a lot of support from a lot of people, from my family, and especially my family. My family was not interested in me going into something like show business because they say that it's not financially stable. So I had to make my own decision because my parents would say one thing and then my friends would say another thing, and all the fellow actors would say, well, if you move to New York it's going to be harder. You'll never get cast, or you'll never become famous. I'm not really going into this to become famous. It's right here in my heart. So, it was a bold move that I made because not too many people do what I'm doing. And to be honest with you, I'm actually planning to move to LA this year in October. So I've been like pounding the pavement for the past, let's say, this is what 2009, 10 years. So it's been a rough journey because I would travel from New Jersey to New York and then New York to New Jersey, going back and forth to the trains. I would work during the day, and then after work I'd go straight to the theater, and I wouldn't get home till like midnight. And then the next day I'd get up at 6 in the morning. So I wasn't, I didn't really have a lot of financial support and support during this 10-year journey. I did a lot of it on my own, and I pat myself on the back because not too many people can do it alone per se. Because there's a lot of insecurities in this profession. It can really drain you. It can really drain your finances. But at the same time, I don't really think about that stuff. I just keep moving forward because if this is something that I want, then I have to go for it, regardless of what goes on in my life. And I'm still pounding the pavement because for my ethnicity, it's a little harder in New York, whereas from what I was told in LA, that it's a little more flexible, and there's a lot more TV and film work, which is what I really want to get into. I'm not really into the theater aspects of acting. I just do the theater part just to get my experience in acting. It's like that's where the true acting is, instead of just starting from film and then going into theater. So I wasn't told that I have to go to New York. I just did it because that's where the market is, and also in Los Angeles. So that's my suggestion to a lot of people. If you really want this, you have to really be serious and think about, like, can I financially support myself? Am I really serious about it? And if I am, then go for it. Don't let other people tell you or scare you from pursuing your dream. That's the thing that I had a problem with when I lived in Baltimore, is that people were trying to scare me and prevent me from going to either market. And to be honest with you, it's not hard unless you make it hard. That's what I believe. So
I agree with you. Now,
it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, I had it. It's stressful. And I'm being very honest. I'm not going to, beat around the bush about it. It's very hard. Some people have it easy because they have a lot of connections with other people, with family, and some family members have been in it, so it's a little easier for them. So for me, I don't have any family members that are into the show business side of it. So I tend to be hard on myself because I'm always trying to be perfect in a lot of things. So I just got to change that because that doesn't exist in this industry. So the hardest part is the casting process. The casting process is hard because if you don't fit the role, then they're not going to take you. And you have to be well known. You got to be in that circle. So you have to actively keep doing things to stay active.
No, absolutely. Now, the next question I was going to ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplish? Because you're not just an actor. You are also, I wrote down a paper through on the board, so I've been over before, is you are not just an actor. You work in theater, you've been on TV, and you've been on films. So with everything you accomplish, do you think social media helped your career, or do you think it hurts your career? And does it dictate your career?
Okay. The social media, it helps promote. For me, it helped promote myself as a person, and not only as an actor but as a person. Because the other thing about social media, it's the best way to market yourself. But you also have to be careful because whatever you say on social media will go back to people in the industry. Even if it's not, if you're, whatever career that you're going into, if you have a day job, you have to be careful of what you advertise and what you say, because it can really, it can really affect you. Like, I'll give you an example. I had a friend who was an actor, and they just badmouthed their agent, and it actually got back to the agent because the agent was friends with my fellow actor's friend. There was a connection there, and so when it got back to the agent just totally dismissed the person because I don't know what they were talking about, but it does for me. It did expose me to make other connections with other actors because if you're in your, if you don't, it's the best way to market yourself. I'll put it to you that way. Because if you don't get out, it's not only about getting out there. It's also about putting it on the computer. Because these days that's the best way to market yourself. Back in the day, it was all about sending out the headshots and resumes through mail, snail mail, and it was harder back then. But now you have an advantage of sending it out through the internet because whatever's on Facebook or Twitter is going to be in Google as well, because people can always Google you, and then right there, and I've seen it myself, there's your Facebook account, and also if you have a marketing page on Facebook, it's there, it's open. So I think, to be very honest, Facebook can hurt you and it cannot hurt you. So you have to, the whole idea is you got to be careful what you put on there because it will get back to people. That's why when you have opinions about politics, because that's the biggest thing, that will really get you in trouble because some people take that personal, and once it gets past the personal part of it, then if you had some relationship with your agent or casting director and you guys get into a fight, then that's a bad thing because it does spread to other casting directors, other agents, and your fellow actors. So you have to be really careful with social media. But in terms of advertising I think it's great. I mean, you just got to be careful what you advertise on there. My suggestion for actors, if you're going to advertise things, do not put your audition taping on Facebook because that's not what Facebook is for. Keep the audition tapes at the audition site. Don't put it on Facebook. They want to see what you've done in terms of independent film or a major film or on television. They want to see like a minute or less. Anything above a minute is too long. And I've been told this by a lot of casting directors because they just simply don't have the time to watch a 2-minute reel. So, and in LA, and I just want to get this message out, in Los Angeles, a reel is absolutely important because they do not have the time to bring you on the audition site. And most of the stuff in LA is based on sending a reel, and then if they cast you, that's how they cast people. So, and as far as Twitter is concerned, I don't particularly favor Twitter because to me that's not a marketing tool for your career because, Instagram and Facebook is the way to go. And on Instagram, you got to be careful what you put on there too, because just post mainly on Instagram what you've done. Maybe like the film that you've done, or like maybe a posting of what if you did a movie. Just put like the title and your picture behind the title, as a background. It has to be. If you have a personal Facebook, keep that separate from what you're doing in your own career, because anything personal, you don't want people to know out in the public. So,
now I hear you. Now, The other question I was going to ask you is more about disabilities. I'm very interested in being an actor. However, I'm on the spectrum of being retarded or artistic, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. I'll just call it as it is. I have no filter. But I'm on the spectrum of being retarded, and I read and learn at a 5th grade level. Reason I'm good at this and I'm good cashiering is because I like cashiering, and I've been doing this for almost 6 years, so this is really passionate. I want to do this to the day I die. But I want to ask you, just because, you can't read or write, does that discriminate in trying to find the word. Does it discriminate and disable you from being an actor?
Um, you mean like not being able to read? You know, not everything in acting is about reading. It really isn't, because you know there are some jobs that you can do with like voiceover work. Okay, sometimes a lot of people learn it by hearing it, and the other thing is, you can go into background acting. You can also do things as an actor, background work, and also sometimes you get paid for not even speaking any lines. You can just make a lot of money just being a double stand-in or just being there. And the other thing about it, acting is not only about words. It's just not. I've seen models. I've seen print. Print. You don't say anything. You just pose for the camera, and right then and there you make $5,000, $10,000 just for standing in front of the camera. So for somebody that has a disability, that should not prevent you from going into the business, because that's my acting teacher always said this, and I'll never forget it. Acting is not about the words. It has nothing to do. The words are just a guide. And if you want to be an actor, then just be it. Forget what everybody else says, because to be an actor, and I've learned this too, because I was very insecure with myself before I got into this business. You have to be. You just gotta focus everybody out, and it's easy to say. It's not easy to do. But this industry, it doesn't matter what age you are, what ethnicity, and to me, it's a very it's a discriminatory thing when people say you can't do this because you have a disability. Well, everybody has a disability. Everyone. No human being on this planet is perfectly clear of any disability. So for people to put people down with a disability, it does come back to them, because one of these days they're going to get a disability as well, and how do they feel? That's the way I see it, because, I'll give you an example. I saw this person on a train yesterday, and, I felt so bad for him because he had a burnt face here. And there was this one guy who was just staring at him, and I looked at the guy who was staring at him, and I said to him, "What are you looking at?" And the guy was looking at me. I'm like, "Why are you staring at the guy?" And then the guy that had, the problem with the face looked at the guy and said the same thing. It's like, disabilities should not prevent anybody from going into what they're passionate about. If you're passionate about what you're doing, then that's all that matters. What matters to other people shouldn't matter to you, because there's always other opportunities that don't require reading, writing, or speaking, because there's always other options. And to be honest with you, I think sometimes when you have to say lines, it's kind of like it's very challenging, and it's harder. So most people want to take things that are the easy route, which is fine, because when you do print ads, you just, like I say, you just go there. You just stand for the camera, and if you get cast, you just stay 2-3 hours a day, and then you're paid $5,000-$10,000, and you're done. I think, to me, that would be the best thing. I mean, with film, I wanted to tell you this too. It takes about 16 to possibly 20 hours straight just to be on the set waiting in your dressing room. And people don't realize that, film is not very easy. It's just the fact that you got to stay in your dressing room all day, and then the director comes and gets you. Okay, you come in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then the director comes and gets you at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, you've been waiting for 10 hours. I'd rather just not say any words, go to the print, in front of the camera, do a print ad. You're on the billboard, and you're done. So. I really, to me, disabilities, I do not discriminate against people with a disability, because, and it's just, people in a wheelchair, there's always, I've seen that. They have movies that they put people in a wheelchair and they're playing basketball. that's a very nice thing because it shows people out in society that anybody can do it. Not just people with legs and walking around or have this reading and writing ability. That everybody is, to me, in my opinion, everybody is a gem to this planet. You're important. You got a lot of people that are very, very nasty. They're a bunch of phonies. And to me, people that have disabilities, there's a talent inside. It's just some people need to, not live in their shell, not, be afraid to show it. Because I was like that too when I first started, and I'm still like that today. I get nervous, and sometimes I'm in my shell, and it's like I need to get out of that, and I need to show the world what I have. And like yourself, I really appreciate you because you're doing this because this is what you love to do, and it's great. I think it's wonderful. It really is. And I have a lot of respect for you because you're doing something that a lot of people don't do. They don't take the time to do it. And I can see the background with the holiday spirit and all that stuff. That's wonderful. I mean, that's great. I really do. So with the learning disability or any type of disability, I would not let that be a factor or an impediment of your career because I would just go for it. Everybody has a physical disability as well, whether it's a health problem or a genetic problem, whatever it is, that should not prevent you because every human being is unique on this planet. Everybody is different and everybody has different talents, different abilities in different ways. And I want to share this one with you. I was watching this show, I know it's funny, Walker, Texas Ranger, with Chuck Norris. And that was back in the middle to late 90s. There was this girl with Down syndrome. And this girl with Down syndrome, she was doing something for the Special Olympics. And I'll never forget this show because after she did that show with Chuck Norris, she became the most famous actress in LA. Because she just went out there and she didn't care. She didn't worry about other people. I admired that girl since the day she got off Texas Ranger and pursued her career in acting in LA. Well, what does that tell you? Seriously, what does that tell you? Anybody can do it. And she was not afraid. So I have a lot of respect for her because, there are a lot of mean people out there that they're just really nasty people. They just make fun of people. It's like, why? What do you get out of doing that? What do you accomplish by doing something like that? And I get very upset because, and I always say to people, one of these days when you make fun of people, it's going to come back to you. It really is. So that's what makes me a strong person. So that's what I say about, about that part of the of the disability part. You just got to enjoy what you like. You have to be happy. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. It's not about what other people think. That's not important.
Absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you about your retail experience. And does your acting interfere or does it help when we come back?
Vanessa Lina. Asian Lalo. Hi, this is Cynthia Vassine. I'm Sonia Fisher. This is Shane Smith. My name is Alexandra Bowie. My name is Amelia Clover. Hi, I'm Amy Linden.
Hi, I'm Anita Coke Brown.
Meg Green.
Hi, my name is Asata Caldwell. Hi, everybody, I'm Brooke from
Hi, I'm Brynford.
Hi, I'm Casey Gunn.
Hi, it's Cassandra Kavinsky.
Hi, I'm Christina Frieza.
I'm Cindy Hogan. I'm Courtney Sinella.
Hi, I'm Daisy.
My name is Deborah Jane East.
Hi, my name is Danielle Marcia.
Hi, everyone, I'm Victoria London.
Hi, I'm Heather Crona.
Hi, I'm Heather Callahan Stevens.
Hi, I'm J. Nicole Ralph.
My name is Jamie Patrell.
My name is Turi.
My name is Julia Blankovich.
Kathleen Wills.
Kimberly Amato.
Hi, my name is Laura Putton.
Hi, I'm Laura Chapanis.
Hi everyone, I'm Melissa Damas.
This is Michelle Mupo, aka Fuchsia.
I'm Rachel Rivera.
Hi, my name is Sarah Joy Mount.
Hi, I'm Susan Blender.
Hi everyone, this is Venus Leone.
Hi, I'm Shotana.
Hi,
Hi, I'm Stephanie Herrera, and I was just on the Keith Andrew Network. It was tons of fun. We used up all our time and then some. I really recommend this show, and try to be a guest on Keith's show. It was super.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 568. I'm here with Mr. Gary. Now, when we left off, I'm going to talk to you about retail, if you have any funny retail stories, being an actor and going to retail and working in retail before an actor. Is there a conflict? And I do have a couple questions for you off the air when we're done. And also about nonprofits. So we have nonprofits, retail, and entertainment, and reality and not reality. So let's start with the reality and not reality. So right now you're a big actor, you've done some good films in the works. Say, for an example, you wanted to work, I don't know, at Walmart, for an example. And people say, hey, aren't you that big star who was in Heroes? And then you're like, yeah, I am. Huh. Why are you working in a place like this? So it's kind of like, do you think once you become that star, you kind of thumb your nails down on normal everyday work? Or do you think you're going to be the same person? I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. It doesn't matter if I become an A-lister or a B-lister, I'm making thousands and hundreds of dollars. If I still want to work in retail, I'm going to do it. People are like, why? You're making all this money. Because I made a promise to myself, from the day I was born to the day I die, I will never ever change who I am. So it doesn't matter if I'm on a billboard, if I'm in commercials, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm going to do what I love. And if that's working in retail, that's what I'm going to do. So I can do both. You always have to have your foot in. Some people call Hollywood fantasy land, and people call reality, retail reality. So do you think the two kind of conflict each other, or do you think once you get to a certain point, it's kind of like, why do you want to work for us? You have all this money.
I think it's hard because, being this, you have to pay the bills. I mean, that's just the whole bottom part of it. You have to pay the bills. This career is not it's not stable, and you have to be careful, because if you're not working, then you're not going to have the finances to support yourself in everyday life, and it's very hard because people just think that I want to be this, whatever they see in the Oscar awards. That's not what it's all about, That's just the cherry on the ice cream sundae. I think, whether you're working in Walmart or McDonald's, I mean, unless you're a big Hollywood star, then in the meantime you have to do what you got to do in life, because it's all about making the money. It's not about being on television and also being on the movie screen. It's you gotta have money to renew your headshots, take classes once in a while. You have to keep yourself you got to keep yourself fresh in terms of keeping your skills polished. And the problem is that a lot of the young actors they go into this thinking that they're going to be the next Jennifer Lawrence or the next Al Pacino. And, people don't realize that all these celebrities have struggled from day one until they got to the part of being, an all-time celebrity. It could take 60 years to become famous. And it could take maybe less than a year. It really depends on how lucky you are. To me, it's all about luck, being at the right place at the right time. Because if you're not at the right place at the right time, then you're not going to get. See, the whole idea is you got to market yourself. You got to go out there. You got to do what you got to do. You have to have you got to make the effort to go out there and put your name out there, because if people don't know who you are, then you can be the most talented actor and not. The talent is like a secondary thing, but the number one priority is to market yourself as an actor. And in order to keep yourself sane, you gotta work. Sometimes you just, if you work at Walmart, that's fine. I mean, and people don't really have to know about that, because that's something that's a day job to support you. But you really don't have to expose that type of business to anybody, in my opinion. And a lot of actors like to have privacy, especially like like some of the stars. Like, I'm sure, like Meryl Streep, she doesn't want people knowing where she lives at and what she does when she's not on set, because you're going to have. She's already being invaded by the paparazzi.
Yeah, bunch of vultures.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like. And I see some of these actors in LA. It's like once they walk out of their house, they get the cameras in front of their faces, and it's like they have no privacy. So in terms of whatever job you're getting, like is that what you wanted to ask me? Is the Walmart part, right? Is it important to have a day job, or?
Well, what I'm asking you is, you become a big star, but for me, I'm gonna have my foot in both worlds. So if something funny happens in reality, you can bring it over to Hollywood, and something happens in Hollywood, you can bring it over to reality. It's always good to have a balance.
Yeah.
But because you're in between two businesses, say, I don't know, for an example, you were doing, this goes to the next part of it, funny stories.
Okay.
Say, like, you were doing, like, a smoking commercial or a smoking gig for a movie, but you're working for a retail company. You say, oh, well, we saw you in Bad Boys 2 smoking cigarettes, bitches and hoes and all of that stuff, and now you're like, hey, how can I help you today? So it's kind of like, does that conflict it? If you do something controversial in a film, will that interfere with your reality? And if you do something in retail, something stupid, does that interfere with what you're doing in entertainment?
I've had that issue because, and I'll be very, and recently, well, not recently, about a few years ago, I had to work my day job, which is I was a lab technician, and I had to tell my employer that I was taken off, and I was lucky because my employer actually worked with me. That's the thing. The biggest thing is you have to have a job that that lets your employer be more flexible and understanding with your career, because there are some employers that will not allow you to take off just to go for an audition. That's the biggest thing, is to get a job that allows you to go to auditions during the day, and also that allows you to make a decent amount of money to support yourself. Because once you're in a, let's say you get cast in a movie. Once you're cast in a movie, then you have to quit your day job. You cannot. There's no way you can do both. That's just humanly impossible, because if you're cast in a movie, that's 100% of your life right there. So the biggest thing is you have to separate, or you have to choose between, do you want to stay at your day job and do acting part-time, or do you want to do full-time acting and do, even if you're a full-time actor, you don't have time to work your day job. So there are times when you have to just quit your job. And that's a lot of risk that people don't want to take because they're scared, and I totally understand it, because if you're an actor, you don't have, unless you're SAG-AFTRA, you don't get any medical benefits. And I've seen a lot of young actors that say, oh, I want to be this full-time actor, I want to make mega bucks. But at the same time, you have to understand that if you have to go to the doctor's office and you don't have medical insurance, what do you do? So you have to, people have to understand that this is not a luxurious industry or a career, because it's it takes a lot of risks, and you have to really, that's where the passion comes. You have to really want this career. And if you're going to do it, you got to choose between the acting and working your full-time job. But if you're in the midst of, trying to make it, you're taking classes, you're training for 2 years while you're training for 2 years, then, yeah, you should have a full-time job. And most people don't, most people have a part-time job, or they have their parents or family members help them, which is fine, and, lucky for them. But the ones that actually have to work full-time and do this at the same time, it's a bit frustrating. And it's not easy. So, in terms of, having a full-time job, it's good because it keeps the money coming into your household. In terms of retailing is a good thing because it helps you to sell yourself. So, and that's the problem that a lot of actors don't have. They don't have the marketing tool, or they don't have the skill to sell themselves. I think being a salesperson is a great thing because it helps you to sell yourself. And the acting is not only about being on stage and being the greatest skilled actor, it's also about marketing yourself. That's where it is. That's how you make the connection. So I think that's very important.
No, absolutely. My last question for you is, are you for working for nonprofits, and how do you get people interested in working with you who have all this money and who are big and famous to work for nonprofits?
The nonprofit part, that's like, for an example, that's like doing community theater, and community theater, they don't pay you. A lot of big time actors are not permitted to do that type of stuff unless it's for like a fundraising. And it's because the union that they're in, like the Actors Equity and SAG-AFTRA, they're closely monitoring people as an actor, because you sign a contract with the union, you're not allowed to do any type of non-profit work unless it's for like maybe St. Jude or the American Cancer Society or something like that. But once you're in the actors union, you have to be completely devoted to that. Otherwise, they're going to fine you and they're just going to dismiss you and your career's over. So, yeah, you gotta even when you do radio or voiceovers or any type of entertainment work, like a host or something, you can't do anything for free. That's the biggest thing.
The reason I asked is because this June it's going to be my 6th anniversary for my talk show, and I was thinking, instead of waiting 4 more years to do something for my 10-year anniversary, I want to do something starting now to memorize, to celebrate the 6 years journey of my life. A lot of people are like, oh, why don't you work with nonprofit organizations? So I was wondering, how do you go about that? And do you think, let me ask you this, and then we're going to pass the show over to you, wrapping up. Is everything you saw about me, everything you read about me and heard and seen, and all the comments and feedbacks, do you think I'm on the right path? And do you think, now the first question is, do you think I'm doing the right thing? And second, do you think I'm good enough to have people work with me?
I really think you're doing the right thing, because what you're like in terms of this, like the interview that we're doing, I think it's good because you're marketing yourself right now. You're getting yourself out there, and that's what I meant earlier by respecting you, because a lot of actors, or even whatever part of the entertainment industry that you're in, a lot of people don't do it. They just don't do what you're doing because it's either they don't know how to do it, or they just feel like somebody else has to do it for them. Like, some people expect their agents to do everything for them, and that doesn't work. And I think you're going in the right direction. You have a lot of potential because you're getting yourself out there. That's the biggest part, is to get yourself out there. You can be the greatest host or radio host or greatest actor, whatever it is, And if you don't expose yourself to the public, nobody's going to know who you are. That's why people that get into like print ads and models, that's why they become so famous quickly, because they know who they are. Their picture is out there. So I really think you should follow and keep going and move forward. The only thing I would say is I would, quote unquote, upgrade, move up a little more. And if you can upgrade more and get yourself out there, in terms of like, getting these interviews and like, I'm not saying you have to go like to NBC or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, if you want to go in that direction, maybe go on a radio show or something like that. I think you starting out this way it's great. I mean, I think you're really going in a direction. I have the strong feeling that you're going to really make it, because you're the kind of person who's very persistent, and it's like you don't care what other people think. That's great. I mean, because a lot of people don't have the guts to do what you're doing, to be honest. You're taking more of a risk than most people are, because you're so devoted and passionate about what you're doing. I don't see a lot, from what I see in this industry, there's not too many people that are very passionate. They just want to do it for the money and to be famous, but at the same time, it requires a lot of time. It requires a lot of work. And I can see that you are doing a lot of work, because you're taking the time to do this, and then I'm sure you're editing this, and then you're putting it out there, and then you're doing other people. And you're also making a living, so I think you're going in the right direction. I think you're doing well.
Well, what do you mean by doing other people? What do you mean?
Oh, doing other people? I didn't mean
just making a joke.
I meant like you're interviewing a lot of people, and that's to help build your channel, which is great, because the more people you have, and it doesn't necessarily have to be famous people, but the more people you have in terms of, like what you're doing with me, like asking questions like what, and it doesn't have to necessarily be I don't know, about acting. It could be anything, But I think you're interested in going to the entertainment side, right? In terms of interviewing actors?
Well, actors, actresses, models, CEOs, everyone.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is that's what I meant by doing. You're doing everything. You're doing a lot of things with other people because you're interviewing a lot of actors. And once you keep doing this, you're gonna get well known. Everybody's gonna know who Keith Andrews is. I think what you should do is you should really focus on Los Angeles and New York, and expose yourself in those markets, because if you keep doing it, then people are going to know who you are even quicker. And once you get out there, then I would really look into getting an agent so they can represent you. But I really think you have the strong potential to do it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But
sure.
Wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Okay, thank you for having me.